Idioms are one of the most looked up English videos on YouTube. There are thousands of videos and worksheets online in regards to English idioms. And most English teachers really enjoy teaching this topic because it's fun, it's interesting, and it's exciting to know where the phrases come from, where they originate from. I, however, am not one of those teachers. Unlike most English teachers, I don't think idioms are used as often in daily conversation as people make out. I cannot remember the last time I heard a native English speaker say, "It's a piece of cake," apart from maybe when I was learning about idioms at school. And I know for sure the last time I heard the phrase, "It's raining cats and dogs," was when a student asked me what it meant. You rarely, or at least I rarely, come across idioms in my daily life. I think they are a fun topic for English learners and always make someone smile when used in conversation. But once you get past the beginning stages of learning English and are actually talking to native speakers on a daily basis in a professional or semi-professional environment, you may find that they are not used at all. With that being said, you often find them used in the workplace or work environment, and sometimes they are just phrases that are used and you don't even realize that it is an idiom. So today in this video, I'm going to go through 10 workplace idioms that are commonly used and you will probably come across at some point in your job or your career. Hi, my name is Catherine and I am a business English teacher. I focus on interview practice and practical language for the workplace. So if this is something that you are interested in, don't forget to subscribe and like this video as well. So what does idiom actually mean? We see this word thrown around a lot. If you ask Google the definition, it will give you a really complicated answer. And even I had to read it at least 3 times to understand what Google was trying to explain to me. But the short version is, an idiom means a non-literal phrase. So literal, taking something literally, and non-literal, meaning not literally. It's a metaphor. Individually, the words may mean something, but as a phrase put together in this way, it becomes a metaphor, an idea, rather than a literal explanation. So the first one today, climbing the career ladder, or to climb the ladder. This is so frequently used that you can even hear it being used by candidates in interviews. People refer to being on the next rung on their career ladder. As you may guess from the very visual idea that this phrase puts in your mind, this literally means you're trying to get to the top of the ladder. So you're climbing the ladder step by step. You're being promoted, moving up, you're climbing a ladder. You're climbing to the top of a building, let's say, with the building being a metaphor for your career. So you're climbing to the top of your career. A ballpark figure means an estimation. What's an estimation? Well, an estimation is an educated guess. It's not a guess. It's an educated guess. Okay, but what's the difference? Well, if I was to tell you, I think there's 40,000 elephants in the world, that's a complete guess. However, if I was to research how many elephants in each country, and from that research, give you an educated guess, a guess based on knowledge, that would be an estimation. So if someone at work asks you for a ballpark figure, there is an understanding that the figure you give is not going to be the exact amount. It's not the final amount, but based on your experience and knowledge, this is an educated guess at the cost or amount of time something will take. So let's say you're a graphic designer and someone asks for a ballpark figure of how much it's going to cost to get their logo redone by you. You use your knowledge and your expertise and experience from designing logos similar to this in the past, and you give them an educated guess as to what the final price is going to be. Of course, if it takes longer than estimated, or the client wants to change multiple things, the cost is going to be more. So there's an understanding that this ballpark figure is not the final figure. It's not the total. This is just an educated guess of what it might cost. Why ballpark, you may be thinking? Well, fun fact, this expression comes from baseball in the 1960s. If the ball was inside the park, it was considered in. If it was outside of the park, outside of the lines, it was considered out. So ballpark refers to something being inside the lines, not a complete guess or completely out of the park, inside the lines. This is something we know about, something we're educated on, a ballpark figure. Back to the drawing board is used often, and with anything, to be honest, not just in a professional environment. Your client doesn't like what you've created, back to the drawing board. Your numbers don't add up or make sense, back to the drawing board. The code you spent hours writing doesn't operate how you expected it to, back to the drawing board. This expression originated from an American cartoonist who, of course, used a drawing board to create his work. So back to the drawing board in that sense was let's start again, back to the drawing board. However, we now use it for every profession and in any situation. Your boss or manager may also use this to demonstrate that the team needs to start again. Let's get back to the drawing board, everyone. We need a new strategy. Go the extra mile. As someone who has experience in retail and hospitality, I thoroughly dislike this phrase, because what it really means is that you are willing to do unpaid work, or you're willing to do someone else's job for them without recognition, or you're willing to be nice to a customer no matter how rude they are to you. But it is used so often in workspaces and to describe ideal candidates, and as a strength when answering job interview questions, I'm willing to go the extra mile, that now we all just kind of accept it as something you can say in an interview. A mile is a measurement of unit in the UK. So if you've ever been to the UK, you'll see our road signs say miles per hour. We don't do kilometers, we do miles per hour. And to go the extra mile just means to go further, to do more. You will often hear in interviews describe a time you went the extra mile. When you did something outside of your job role, outside of your job description, maybe you covered for someone else. Maybe you finished someone else's work for them. Maybe you helped a difficult customer or took on more projects than necessary in order to make sure you were finished on time. We often hear this said as to go above and beyond as well, and it just means the same thing, to do more than what is expected of you. In a nutshell is used to describe or explain something as simply or as quickly as possible. So think of a nut. It's small and it's covered with a shell. If you have a difficult client and you need to relay this information to your boss, instead of telling the whole story from start to finish, you may just say, in a nutshell, they're not happy with the work. Or in a nutshell, they don't want to pay the invoice. You're letting your boss know or your teammate know that there is a lot more to this story, but you're just giving them the details that they need to know. To learn the ropes is an expression that comes from sailing. If you know a lot about the UK's history, England's history in particular, you'll know that we have a vast sailing history. And so a lot of our phrases come from the time when we were sailors or have a nautical theme to them. When I was 15, my brother and I used to race boats. And the first thing you do when you learn to sail is learn how to rig or set up the boat. You learn how the ropes go on the boat and which ones to pull to control the boat. You learn the ropes. You learn the basics. So when someone says to learn the ropes, I am learning the ropes. My first day, I was just learning the ropes. It just means to learn the basics, learn how the company is run, learn what's expected of you, learn how your team works together, learn where the bathroom is, learn where the lunch break room is. How was your first day at work? Yeah, fine, just learning the ropes. I think this one is easy to guess, possibly. Think of water flowing. So when you put something down the drain, it goes away. You can never retrieve that again. It's gone. It's down the drain. Think of your kitchen sink. When you open the tap on your kitchen sink, that water's gone. So if someone states at work, all that work down the drain, or all that time and effort has gone down the drain, what they're saying is you cannot get that back and there's been no positive outcome. So it was all wasted, all that time, all that effort, all that money was completely wasted. You cannot get that time back. You probably wouldn't say this in front of a client or customer, but you might say this within your team. Well, that was a waste of time, completely down the drain. I worked on this for 40 hours and all of that time is completely down the drain. The origin of this expression is expected to come from croquet, which was invented in the 1800s. However, any sport probably could have sparked this expression to come to life, as when you push a ball or throw a ball or kick a ball, it doesn't stop. If there's no obstacle and it still has momentum, it never stops. So to get the ball rolling is a phrase that means, let's start this, let's get on with it. Let's do this initial phase to get the ball rolling, get the project moving and going. Set it into motion. Contact that client of yours, let's get the ball rolling. Split into teams and come up with a strategy. Get the ball rolling. Imagine you are running around a square track in a park and you start to get tired. You start to feel, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. So instead of doing a square, when you get to the corner, you start to cut round the corner, making an oval shape instead. You're cutting the corner, making your time and distance that you are running shorter. So this expression comes from horse riding, and it means exactly that: to cut a corner, to not do the full square, to just go around the corner and shorten the distance or time that it takes. So when you're using this in business, it typically means you are saving time or money by not doing things 100% properly. It's usually used as a negative, this business cut corners, or my graphic designer cut corners this week. I can tell because this isn't completed. This could have good short-term effects, but maybe disastrous long-term effects for a business. You may hear this as a positive. Do not cut any corners. This is a high-profile client, and I don't want any corners cut. I want you to put in as much effort and time and money as it takes. Meaning, follow every step. Do not try to make things quicker or easier. Do it completely, 100% properly. My last one today, on the back burner. You may be able to guess this comes from cooking. So if you have 4 burners on top of your stove, the front 2 are going to be higher priority, aren't they? Because they're closer to you, you can see them, you're focused on them. And the back 2 are less of a priority to you. So maybe at the front you have your chicken and your curry, and at the back you have the vegetables and the rice. So to put something on the back burner is to not put it at a high priority. Focus on these projects first before focusing on the ones at the back. Okay, well, let's put that on the back burner until tomorrow. Can you focus on project A? Or can we put this on the back burner and focus on client XYZ? You want the priority to be elsewhere. Something else is higher priority right now. Doesn't mean that we're not going to do this thing. We're just putting it on the back burner until we have time. Have you come across any of these in your profession? If so, which ones? Let me know in the comments. Have you come across any more that you've heard at work and thought, what on earth does that mean? Again, let me know in the comments. I'm very interested to see what you think. I also have to say I quite enjoyed making this video, so maybe me saying I don't enjoy idioms was incorrect. Thank you again for watching. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good week. Bye.